Welcome everyone. Chapter 41, Productivity and Production Method. The production method, we talk about production is transformation of resources into final product. So there are three different methods of production techniques like job production. Method of production involves employing all the resources factors of production when you are completing one unit at a time. So we talk about the advantages and disadvantages of that. Batch production is where we know completing one operation at a time on all units before performing the next, like garment factory, chocolate factories, everything. Talk about the advantages, disadvantages. Low production is where you're continuously producing something standardized product where each operation of unit is performed continuously or after the other usually on a production line, like soft drinks, Toyota, and then oil everything. Talk about the features of flow production, the advantages and disadvantages. So, and process production like crude oil, right? That one, the take the different process production, like when you're doing the distillation process that we can see, like extracting different things, petrol, diesel, kerosene. That's called production. And factors affecting the special selection of production. We talk about mainly four factors are affecting when you're selecting a production technique. It will be the nature of the product, the size of the market that, and the stage of the development of the business has, and also the reach and also the technology level of the business is impacted on that. And in my recent session, we talked about the productivity. Productivity is the amount of output produced in relation to the resources used. We talk about the labor productivity and the capital productivity. So labor productivity is where total output divided by number of workers, right? The total output divided by number of workers. We find out how much is the output per worker. So labor intensive production techniques, a production method that makes more use of labor relative to machinery. That's called the labor intensive production method that make more use of production relative to machinery. And on the other hand, the capital intensive production, you talk about capital productivity as well. Capital productivity is the total output divided by capital employed, right? So we are not multiplying by 100, just total output divided by capital employed. So capital employed mean that this case, you can see it can be the non-current assets, will be the right. So mainly the total capital employed. So capital employed, accounting concept, we call the capital employed means that's equity capital and the debt capital. So which means again the total assets of the business is the how much capital you can find out for. There's another productivity measure for if it's the machine, we get the physical quantity, that also we can see. But so they normally in examinations they have given calculation questions. This is the amount of capital employed and this is the amount of productivity. So anyway, this is the amount of output. So you have to divide the output by input. Then you can get the answer as labor intensive or capital intensive business. So capital intensive production means the production method that takes more use of machinery related to labor. So today in my lesson, I'm going to discuss you these methods, how to increase the labor productivity and methods of increasing capital productivity and other methods of improving labor productivity, right? So first of all, the methods of increasing labor productivity, I told you, by using education and training, we can actually improve the productivity of the labor. Schools, universities, and also other vocational qualification centers are there in the world. So normally every country. As a result of that, organizations are the people, the labor, they can go to those organizations and they can get the training, education and training, for example. As a result of that, the labor will be equipped with the knowledge, skills, and attitudes after the training. That's why then only we can make the labor into a manpower, like human capital. That's the difference between the human and the human capital. Always the trained labor with the knowledge, skills, and attitudes we call a human capital. Otherwise, just a university pass out or school pass out, school leaver, or university pass out is just pass out graduate doesn't have the level of the amount of sometimes training they require. So trained labor is important because after training only you will be more productive. That's why organizations, if you go through the like a job advertisement, a lot of every job advertisement they're expecting some individuals who have 5 years, 6 years, 4 years, at least 2 years experience after the qualification, because they know the just after the qualification you can't be more productive. You have to get some work in hand experience. As a lot of organizations, there's a huge demand with the labor with like 5 years 6 years, 8 years, 10 years experience, then will be definitely have a huge demand in the market, because that you have education plus training as well. Okay, so that is important. Another one is improve the motivation of workers, right? This is actually my I have because this is short note for I have designed for the production management thing, so I will give you this one. This economies of scales, chapter 40, 41, everything, the coming future topics also including here. So this will be given. I'll share you as soon as possible. Yes, mainly this is the method. Like normally, labor productivity can be improved by education and training, and also second one, improve the motivation of workers. Second method, by improving motivation, is like organizations try to motivate people by giving financial and non-financial techniques. Then only you can actually motivate them, because if you provide financial motivation such as giving a good salary, a bonus, profit sharing, employee options, this kind of a thing always motivate the workers. And some workers are motivated by non-financial methods of motivation, sometimes education, empowerment, consultation, job rotation, job enrichment, job enlargement, like these methods of non-financial motivation techniques also there. We are going to learn there in the human resource management. We learn everything, financial methods and non-financial methods. Then only workers will be working with more productively. Like according to the different theories, prove this thing. According to Herzberg theory, a two-factor theorem, if you remember, employee motivation, there are motivated factors are there, right? Motivated factors and hygiene factors, according to Friedrich Herzberg's two-factor theory. According to motivated factors, is saying that the art track factors, achievement, recognition, the work itself interestingly, and responsibilities, advancement, growth, all these factors comes under employee motivation. And also again in Maslow also, Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs also, he stated that the employee motivation can be gained by productivity can be gained by identification of the human needs. In that human need, we talk about physiological needs, safety needs, social needs, self-esteem needs, self-actualization need, like that. We talk about that as well. So in order to motivate employees, we have to provide them in their according need hierarchy. Some workers need physiological needs, some workers need self-actualization needs. Right? Some employees are there, their esteem needs are expected. Like that, you understand different age group, different worker groups, they have different needs are there, different methods of techniques we discuss how to have and how to motivate them, right? In according to scientific management theory also, Taylor is F.W. Taylor, he identified that the people are motivated by money, so monetary motivation. So therefore, a lot of theories are there, right? F.W. Taylor scientific management theory, Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs theory, right? The Herzberg two-factor theory, and also Elton Mayo's human relation theories, right? He did all these experiments, all this research work found that people's motivation is important, right? In order to motivate the people, there are different techniques we can apply. Therefore, this will always improve the productivity of the organization. Therefore, motivation is really, really important. Financial methods, non-financial methods are motivation techniques we can use in order to get more work from them. And improve working practices. This was another method of actually improving the labor productivity, like layout plan. It's important, staff layout, like a plan of the how we design the factory layout, right? We can easily move here and there. Sometimes some factories have open door policy, which means anyone can come anytime to the boss's CEO's office, and then they can, like, this kind of a communication can be more flexible, and departments meetings and everything. You can see more flexibility in the organization. Working practices is really important. According to Herzberg theories also, working conditions are there, right? Working conditions, it's really important to have like a hygiene factor. Having good working conditions, working practices are really important. And finally, if we can increase the labor productivity by increasing labor flexibility, right? Labor flexibility we can increase. For example, flexible working system. Sometimes we can offer them some kind of a working from home methods, right? And flexi time hours. Sometimes they can select the time they can come to work. Sometimes morning you can't come at 8 o'clock, but you can come at 9 o'clock. It's not 8 to 5. Sometimes time you can change 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Sometimes you can come at flexible time. You can come around 10 o'clock and you can leave around 8 o'clock. Flexible time. Working from home. And also some organization allow you to sometimes bring some kind of example, flexi hours, for example. Not only that, part-time workers. Sometimes they have increased the labor productivity, part-time workers, right? 0-hour contracts, 0-hour contracts. Some people are called on-call duties, 0-hour contracts, right? Like that. So temporary workers, part-time workers, job sharing. These are the flexibility of increasing labor flexibility, right? So different techniques. Always organization can be benefited by that. So for example, in a busy time period, sometimes you can give workers, okay, you don't need to actually influence workers to work overtime or something. If you can let them to go, and you can hire part-time workers. There are good and bad things, but normally these flexible working practices are really important. Some organizations, sometimes they're allowing, for example, working from home, flexible hours. Sometimes some organization allowing them to bring their pets also to the office, bring their pets like dogs and cats, some fish. So because that's also improving the motivation like that. So there are some certain case studies also there in the past paper. Flexible working. It's really important thing, like especially like the working from home practice is really helpful, because you can no need to actually mention, if you are like a commuting time can be reduced, transportation time can be reduced, and you can do the personal, like a life and the work-life balance you can do. Right? If you have child to look after, if you have parents to look after, you can do that works also with the office work, like work-life balance. There are so many advantages. So, and labor productivity also will improve. An organization also, it will be pretty helpful to reduce their overheads, electricity costs, right? Data cost, right? And water bills, telephone bills, everything you can reduce, because if you allow workers to working from home, there are some certain, these are the main methods to increase the labor productivity: education training, improving the motivation, improving the working practices, and improving the labor flexibility. Moreover, we talk about the capital improvement, because we talk about the two methods of productivity, labor productivity and the capital productivity. And the capital productivity, we can improve the capital productivity by introducing new technology, improving new technology, which is if you are still using the old technology, right? For example, let's say desktop computers and the like laptop computers. So you can say the LCD monitors and the like a large monitors, or sometimes you can see the smartphones and the other all mobile phones like that. So new old technology and new technology. You can see always the new computers are more faster, more speed, and more accurate, because it's more like more functions are there. A smartphone, you can see like a new technology. Are you still using old iPhone or iPhone 13? iPhone 13 has so much of memory capacity, battery life, like even Samsung also them like that. So new technology always bring new, right, more productivity, right, more benefits. The organization should try to actually always adopt new technology. It can be online business, it can be card payment system, it can be the computer system, it can be the surveillance system, whatever, online banking, online website, anything. So now technology is not an option, it's a mandatory thing, especially like e-commerce is not an option. In your organization, e-commerce is a compulsory, it's a mandatory thing, right? So like 10 years ago, e-commerce is just an option. There's a lot of people, they used to go to the physically to do the organization and do everything, order everything by face to face, by meeting the shop owner. But now no one wants to go to the place. Everything they search Google and they go to the website and they order online. So everything, that's why we have to change everything, all the professions like that. I think even right now I can see even some industries, like even the medical industry, online is there. Sometimes they try to use the artificial intelligence into different sectors. AI, artificial intelligence into the education, artificial intelligence into the hospitals, artificial intelligence into the construction projects, project management. So decision-making techniques. Technology is really important, which increases productivity, right? Because always the human, if you use the manual labor, it will take some time, delays, right? So I told you, I think I have from video also we have watched in my previous session. Remember that the Hydra Money company in Sri Lanka also is a good example for that, because they have replaced their manual like worksheets and everything prepared by now. They replace it. There's a new technology called Microsoft software there called Rescue. So rescue software will allow the garment factory operators to stock controlling, quality assurance, right? The work study, everything. You can no need to fill the manual forms, everything here and there anymore. You can, these charts, this data, everything you can real time you can upload to the system. So managers will be taking real time decision you can take. So quality defects, wastage of material, everything will be, you can quickly make this is a matter of minutes, not the matter of days. So it can reduce the workload, and also the duplication of factories will reduce as real-time decision making. It will be very supportive. That rescue software offered by Microsoft. This is in government factories. There are every factory, every industry, there are some certain sophisticated networks and systems and softwares are developed, designed by different organizations. Therefore, introducing new technology will be really important. For example, it is like a attendance mark. Imagine now, new technologies there. With those days, the people used to sign the books, right, and the attendance marking. But now biometrics are there. We can put the fingerprint, right, or sometimes we can have our own like ID card, like with the barcode reader. So in student attendance marking, some schools they're using this thing, right? Now still sometimes manually we are filling the attendance marking happening manually, but now there are some certain methods are there. Even you can use your biometrics when you enter into the schools. You can use some card like a punch card or barcode reader. Then will automatically identify you the student is in or out, at what time you certainly actually you came into the school and what time you left. Everything we can regulate through that. So technology always improving that thing, the accuracy and the efficiency, productivity. So moreover, other thing of improving capital productivity is using capital intensive production. Capital intensive production means where you are using more machines rather than labor. Compared to labor, you are using more machines. Okay. Now, commonly there are other methods of improving productivity in this short note. You can see there are certain techniques. There are 5 techniques I have used to explain. This is everything available in your textbook. Downsizing. The downsizing method you can mean the process of reducing capacity, usually by laying off staff. So downsizing, we call this method sometimes cost cutting or hair cutting. Like that, downsizing is reducing the capacity of the business. So a lot of organization downsize recently because of this pandemic thing. They downsize their business organization operations because of they want sometimes the capacity they want to reduce. Say hotels and tourism, because tourist arrivals actually gone down. As a result of that, the certain industries, the level of staff and the engagement they want to reduce, because excess staff members always is a burden and huge, financially is a stress for the organization. They some staff redundancy programs are introduced. A lot of airlines they downsize, they reduce the number of staff members in the different divisions. So to the crew members, pilots, catering staff, like baggage handlers. So many staff members they made redundant during that time period. So temporarily they are doing this downsizing method. So downsizing always can, this kind of a method of like a flexible working, like you can increase the labor size and you can decrease the labor size. It's called downsizing, reducing capacity by laying off staff, make them redundant. Second one is a work study. Work study is a process where they identify the best possible way to carry out the task by looking closely at the way the job is done. So you can have some consultant and then call work study officer, and the work study officer will be checking everything, and he will be like a work study, like an analysis. Like normally you can see this is very similar to situations such as in a game, some sports like cricket, football, rugby, you name any game. There are some people like technical people are there. We call in the cricket, for example, his job is actually for Sri Lankan cricket, Australian cricket, England cricket. There are some tech people are there, tech support. So what they're doing, so they actually study the game, they watch the game, and again they repeat. For example, if you want to study some bowler, there are variations, right? For batsmen, there are shots and there are weak points, strong points, they do analysis. So tech analysis is important. So before the next match, they have to summarize. Right, that's his job. So after that, the bowlers know, okay, for this batsman, this is a strong side, so never ball on the strong side, and this is a weak area to bowl. Right, so this is the phase. So now everything, even the games also like that, they are using this work study. They're analyzing the so every batsman, every bowler, they analyze their variations, their different techniques, their areas, strong areas, weak areas, their unique shots, the unique so different techniques, skills they underline. understand. As a result of that, they can better work with that. The team selections and the example fielding options, which areas you have to put the more fielders, like that, everything they analyze the past few matches, and then everything for the team meeting, this tech guy has support. If you have very good, really good technicians are there like that in every game, you can win the games like that. Same thing, this game can be applied to the work study. Work study obviously is really important. Even at a war also like that. In the Art of War, Sun Tzu, there's a Chinese emperor's, the general was there, Sun Tzu. He wrote a book called Art of War. In the Art of War, he mentioned once, right, never underestimate your opponent, the other party. So before you go to the battlefield, you have to study the battlefield. So even now also they are doing, a lot of countries, before you fight, you have to study the battlefield, right? What it looks like, what it looks like, what is the geographical areas, what are the areas that, what is the, like, everything. This is really important. You can see now, that's called work study. Before you do something, this is really important, like a kind of a planning thing, pre-planning and understanding the work. So it's like a very technical thing. So before you do something, like before you go to the examination, you are doing so many past papers. It's like a work study, no? You're reading short notes. That's kind of like a study. Before you do something, it's really important, like a preparation process, which identify the best possible way to carry out some tasks. What is it? So then they know, for example, cricket, what is the best possible way to actually arrange the game, arrange the format, arrange the fielding, right? Using the batsmen and bowlers. So everything comes from that tech guy. That is really important. Even football you can use, even rugby, even hockey, badminton, everything you can analyze these things. Work study is really important. This is a kind of a strategic method now. Okay, so every industry you can use it, right? You know, if as a businessman, this is mandatory. Businessmen right now, they know before the budget comes, what are the budget changes. They don't wait until the budget comes. So everything they know, they already have to plan for the next 5 years, next 3 years. Now this presidents, who will be the next president in the future, what will be the next elections going on. They, according to that, they plan everything. They study the economy, everything. They know, okay, now at the end of this December, there'll be another wave can become, and now next year March there'll be food shortage can become. So everything they have to prepare in advance. Right now there can be shortage of fuel, there can be shortage of gas, there can be shortage of food. So what will happen? So if you haven't planned this thing, if you not study these things, economic variables, right, macro variable factors, so business also can be collapsed. Therefore, very, very important to improve their productivity. You have to well plan, well study. That's why, so as usually, like general people, to study these things, like general environment, you have to listen to news. Or you have to go through the social media. There are so many updates are coming, economic updates, political updates, social updates, right? Weather updates. This is really important. Information is the edge, knowledge is the edge. Therefore, really important to work study. It's another very important method of improving your productivity. Always work study, and you can forecast what's going on, what's happening, predictions. Relocation is another third one. Relocation means you are going to moving to another new premises, right? Relocate means, for example, like from high cost countries to low cost countries. Like low cost countries are very famous, like China, Vietnam. China they call the factory of Asia. Vietnam they normally call the darling of Asia. Like that, relocation decisions are really important. If you are working by using, if you say USA, Denmark, Germany, Netherlands, and those countries, are labor cost is very high. But those businesses, they are now relocating into East European countries and Far Eastern countries like China, Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, Bangladesh, sometimes even Ethiopia, African countries also, where the labor cost is low. So relocation always can have some benefits, especially that's why there are countries good for location decisions. For example, like manufacturing locations are there and selling locations are also there. Not only manufacturing decisions, there are selling decisions. For example, for selling locations, India is a good market. Why? 1.2 billion population. A lot of multinational companies would like to come India. Why? The population size 1.2 billion customers, right? So Amazon is there in India now, right? So Apple, they have started business with India because they know the market size is very important, right? So selling locations are there, manufacturing locations are there. Selling locations are there where the rich people are normally the Singapore, Dubai. So and you can see the Italy, France. So these are very good selling locations. New York, like California, USA. So like different locations are there, very good for selling locations, like shopping malls, and also like like your outlets you can open up in those countries. But factories you can have in cheap developing countries like labor third world countries. I opposite those countries. Sometimes developing countries are very famous for like all that thing. Like relocation is a really good decision because location is one of the main important factor for deciding the success and productivity of the business. So relocate the business to improve efficiency. By relocating, firms can take advantage of the cheaper resources such as low rent, low wages, and low transport costs. Not only that, sometimes governments in those countries will give willing to give you so many facilities like no tax, sometimes tax free, tax havens are there sometimes, 15 years, sometimes for 99 years, sometimes no tax. Right? So they allow only thing they always invite them to come and invest. Okay, we'll give you the land, we'll give you the factory, we'll give you the infrastructure. You have to give us job opportunities, at least 100 job opportunities. So 100 families will get the benefits directly, right? Then government sometimes they say we don't need taxes, we don't need your taxes. We need your technology, we need your job opportunities to our people. So like that. So location decision is really important. Some government influence. If you do a factory in your country, sometimes in USA, sometimes or UK, you have to pay huge tax to the government. But if you locate your factory in, let's say, Hong Kong, it can be Thailand, it can be Vietnam, China, they don't sometimes not give you charging taxes from you. Sometimes very minimum taxes, right? So then labors are really cheap. So that's why a lot of organizations, they're moving their factories operations to those countries. And outsourcing, the fourth one, this is a really important method. Outsourcing can be happening in two methods. We call KPO and BPO, knowledge process outsourcing and business process outsourcing. KPO standing is like you can outsource the other, like your knowledge process, like the people who do, like they say market research, you can outsource. Sometimes accountants, like your payroll system, you can outsource, right? You can outsource your bookkeeping works, you can outsource now auditing company or something. You can outsource your advertising thing for advertising agency. So you don't need to actually keep everything within the business. You can reduce your workload and you can hire the best people from the other industries. There are specialized businesses are there, for example, and business process outsourcing, BPO, is a situation that you are giving some business processes to outsource companies. Your security function, you can hire security agency. You can tell them, okay, give us a security, give me like a 2 or 3 security guards, and they will provide you 24-hour security guard. So at the end of the month, you have to give a paycheck, right? So third-party contractors, security, cleaning services, right? Cleaning service also, you don't need to hire own employees because you have to pay them salaries, EPF, ETF, and all that thing. So you can hire cleaning agency, and you can tell them this is your task. So we need 5 cleaning workers. We have a garden, we have a factory, we have this much of bathrooms, everything. We have to clean it. There are so many cleaning agencies are there, right? And also like canteen facilities. If a factory has, for example, let's say like a 400, 500,000 workers, they need food and beverage. So you can hire, you don't need to open up your own canteen. You can actually hire some canteen specialists, catering service. Then they'll tell you, okay, they have to pay rent for you then. You don't need to pay rent for them, for their canteen. So they have to pay rent because you're giving opportunity, business opportunity for them to sell their food. And then they have to give you a rent for that thing. Sometimes opportunities are there for workers. Sometimes the workers, for example, let's say like garment factories and everything, sometimes they will give you free food. That case, factory has to pay the canteen provider, the catering supplier. Factory has to give them money because it's like a concessionary prices. The food can be provided for the factory workers, like daily. You have to cook for 4,000, 5,000 employees. Some organization allow this, giving like a free food because cheap labor. Sometimes workers are there, so they need food, they need uniforms, they need accommodation. So all these 3 facilities they are giving, they're just taking their labor. So like that. So this is the way. Outsourcing is very profitable nowadays. Really important. These are new business concept to increase your productivity. Outsourcing can be happen in 2 ways: knowledge process outsource and the business process outsource. Knowledge process outsource means like giving some managerial functions to other organizations, like advertising agencies, market research agencies, accountancy, like audit firms and everything, like bookkeeping assignments and everything. Sometimes IT also, sometimes if you want to make some software, you can hire some IT company, or some consultancy companies are there to give their advices and all. So these are the main methods you can hire, right? You don't need to have your own company lawyer. There are legal service providers are there, right? You don't need to hire a company. You don't need to keep a full-time doctor. You can hire like a medical service are there. Sometimes on call they are coming. Ambulance services are there, right? Some organization they are keeping 24 hours. This ambulance is there. If there are injury, they can quickly sit. But now there are only just one call away, right? So there are some ambulance services are there. Like that, you can use these outsourcing methods to reduce the cost. You can reduce the overhead cost. As a result, you can be more productive. And finally, the lean production techniques. So lean production means all the methods that you can reduce the wastage. Lean production we are separately learning in another chapter. The lean production, chapter number 42. In my next chapter, I'm going to talk about the lean production. Lean production is the approach of production aimed at reducing the quantity of resources used. There we talk about the 5S system and Kaizen, Kanban, just in time. Really, it's very important lesson. So lean production is another technique that you can improve your productivity, right? This is a method of productivity, right? So our let's go and see our textbook material. Also, the same thing what I have discussed here is there in the textbook material. The methods of improving labor productivity. This is the government training programs. People are better motivated at work, like give a motivation, like giving time rate, piece rate, performance related pay, profit sharing, everything. Labor organizing, manage more efficiently, like factory layout and everything, change the layout of the factory, workstation, reorganizing the flow of production, everything comes under organizing. And also finally, from flexible working, flexi time and everything, flexible working from home, these practices also you can improve the labor productivity. These are the main 4 methods of labor productivity improvement methods. And after that, I talked about the increasing productivity, like capital productivity. So capital productivity we can introduce by introducing new capital and go through with the more capital intensive. These are the 2 methods mentioning in this para. This can be done by adapting new technology and adapting to capital intensive methods. And there are other methods of improving productivity. I told you, downsizing, reducing the number of process of reducing capacity by using or laying off staff. Relocation decision, you can relocate into low-cost countries. Outsourcing methods, I told you, is a contracting out of work that might otherwise have been performed within the organization to other businesses, such as security, cleaning, canteen, everything. You can see these are the methods of improving productivity. And also lean production. We talk about the lean production techniques. I'm mainly talking in next chapter, chapter 42. Lean production is a big concept. It's a main, like a family name, like a lean comes under so many techniques are there. It's like an umbrella term we are using. Lean means simply cost cutting, waste minimizing production. So 0 defect policy is there at the end. Quality control, quality assurance, just in time, 5S, Kaizen, Kanban, just everything. So many concepts are there, sub factors are there under lean concept, right? So this is we are going to discuss in the chapter 42, right? So let's go to the last topic of this handout, the impact of the business on productivity and the improvement. The impact on business on productivity and improvement. We mainly talk about the different impact, like financial impact, competitiveness, workforce, and customers. Different stakeholders, different orientations are there from the productivity, right? In my short run, I have summarized this one very clearly. The impacts on the business on productivity improvement, you can see financial impact. Mainly, it can definitely, you can reduce your cost of the business organization can be reduced. And secondly, competitiveness will increase. Competitiveness means you can be a good competitor. You can be more efficiency, profitability, market share, the value of the company, share price will increase. More competitive, right? The organization who use the technology always like, they are making like a standout of the competition always. It's become very really important, competitive advantage they are using competitiveness. Also, workforce, productivity, motivation will increase as a result of that, because of the motivation techniques also using, like training programs, working conditions, and as a result of that, productivity of the workers will increasing, motivation will increasing. And finally, customer, they will satisfy, right? Customer satisfaction is the ultimate objective of these techniques, because productivity means always not only the profit, it's always customer satisfaction, right? So you can see the financial impacts. What you can learn here, if a business is able to improve productivity, there should be positive financial impacts, uh, cost will be lower. This would improve the profitability and provide greater returns for the owners. However, some of the measures you see improve productivity might be costly, like cost money. For example, like if you invest in new technology, right? Technology is expensive, right? You can't buy new, like iPhones for cheaper prices. You can't buy new laptops for cheaper prices, new cameras, so and so. It's expensive. This may mean that the business has to borrow money or use some retained profit. Retained profit means the profit that you have saved from last years. This could have an impact on the cash flow, or put out of the business in more debt, or both. Right? And the competitiveness, that means organization, that's why even there are good and bad. Impact mean always you have to think about the good side and the bad side. The financially, it will be have financial gains like a cost reductions, increase efficiency. But however, some investments are expensive. For example, like technology investment is very expensive. There's a burden. You have to use that thing. Sometimes you have to, do your job. You have to purchase a new camera, a new laptop. But laptop will be expensive thing. And competitiveness of the organization. You can be more productive, and you can be more efficient. You can be more like, be a cost leader in the market. Sometimes we call cost leadership, right? You can be more focused on that, like cost focused. So more customers can become like sometimes low profit margin, high volume. You can see in the mass market, this is a strategy you have to use, competitiveness, like, to get more customers, you can be more competitive. Sometimes because of this production techniques, you can reduce significantly our costs. And as I think we discussed in economies of scale of the sandwich factory, they, by using these techniques, their cost is really low. So you can be the cost leader in the market, then there can actually large market share you can enjoy. So you can increase the market share and enjoy higher profile in the market. It might start to attract new customers from overseas. Sometimes even overseas customers also you can attract. Okay, finally, you can see the workforce and customer. Yes, workforce part, I'll invite Liara, can you read this part?
If a business introduces measures to improve labor productivity, clearly the workers are likely to be affected. However, the nature of the impact will depend on the particular measure introduced. For example, if financial incentives are introduced to improve motivation, workers may benefit from higher earnings. If non-financial incentives are used, workers' jobs may become more interesting. However, some measures might have a negative impact. For example, if new machinery is introduced or some production is outsourced, some workers might lose their jobs. This could have a negative impact on the business, particularly if workers take the industrial action. The morale of workers who remain may fall. Workers are also likely to feel a negative impact if a business uses downsizing or relocation to improve productivity.
Thank you, Liara. So mainly this is workforce. There are two parts are there. Impact mean always you see the good and bad side. Worker motivation as a result of the things increase, for example, training and development. Yeah, they are getting more opportunities and everything. So organization motivation programs always workforce have a positive, but somehow if you go with the downsizing option, sometimes usually a more capital intensive or using technology methods, there is the threat for their job security. Sometimes workers will made redundant because of downsizing. So therefore, they will be very scared of that, because the factory decisions are there. Sometimes to reduce the capacity or go ahead with the machines, will always replace them. They will be very scared with that thing. Sometimes organization in futuristic organization, more robotics and more technology, more machines. So therefore, there's a huge problem with that. I think what happened to these workers, where they have to go. That's why there's a tertiary sector development now. There are really because there's a boom in the tertiary sector industries because of this, because a lot of manufacturing firms, they have adapted to technology, capital intensive. As a result, this labor has to find new job opportunities in the tertiary sector. And also there's some union power. Sometimes they will strike, they will go for asking some alternative. Sometimes they will be, that's why. And also impact on the business use like downsizing or relocation may improve the productivity. If you remember the Lego case study, they have go to from Denmark to China. As a result, 1,200 jobs they have to reduce, redundant. 1,200 job opportunities in 1,200 families. Imagine the unemployment created by one relocation decision. That's the thing. So multinationals, they relocate. So as a result, so many other problems are there for workers. There are good sides as well as bad sides. Okay. Okay. Finally, you can see the customer impact. The impact on customers are really important. So, even can you read the customer para?
Yes, sure. Customers are likely to benefit if a business tries to improve productivity. This is because lower costs could result in lower price. Also, some measures designed to improve productivity might result in better product or service for customers. For example, if customer service staff at a call center receive more training, customers might experience a faster and more effective service when contacting a business to deal with an issue. Also, if new technology and lean production methods are introduced, the quality of manufactured products are likely to improve.
Very good. So now, normally that's the thing. Now, customers are always we liked because ultimate objective of the business organization of this increasing productivity thing is customer satisfaction. That's why we can't see that much negative impact for customers, but always this lean technology and also improving the customer satisfaction, like factory layout, everything always give some kind of a customer a better product, quality service, everything. Because ultimately, customers are unsatisfied, mean the business would never go to that decision and option, whatever it is. That's why some organizations you can see sometimes customer relations like call centers, right? They outsource this, some organizations. So for example, some American companies, they call center, they outsource to India. Sometimes they are the email system and the customer relations, everything, customer hotline, they outsource. So that's why. So always they can see customers will be satisfied because they know someone will there for them for 24-hour customer service is there, right? More trainings, and my customers might experience faster and more effective service with the technology, like online banking. You don't need to wait in a queue, right? If you use your own, you can use to like a mobile phone or some application or something software. You can go to the mobile banking, right? Mobile payment systems. So everything, that's why apps are there right now, right? For example, now today I heard that the police actually now going to implement a system that you can pay off fines and surcharges by using online system. You don't need to go to the post office and you don't need to go to the bank. No, nothing like that. Directly you can, there's a QR code, you can from mobile phone, you can link to the app, and then you can pay the fine using your mobile phone. Online you can pay the fine. So it's very important because especially I think they are going to introduce things, especially in highway system, firstly as a pilot project. And if the pilot project is successful, they are going to implement the system to the whole country. So like that, there are new technology systems are there. So always customers will satisfy, because it's the police charges and fines. Usually the traditional system means you have to go to the that post office and you have to pay it there, and then it's very time consuming. It's like another punishment. So always customers are penalized. So that's why I think they are given these opportunities for the people to improve their work life and also always their personal life, everything. Customer satisfaction is the ultimate objective of this thing. So there are not that much of disadvantages for the customer, this thing, right? Okay, now you can see these are the main advantages and disadvantages of this thing. So now we have to go to the other part, the chapter review thing. You can see the next part is we are going to do the chapter review of this MCQ part, but that one we can handle in my next session. So with that, so today I summarize the lesson. What we learned today is we talk about the method that we can improve the labor productivity, method that we can improve the capital productivity, like downsizing, relocation, and outsourcing, decision and lean production techniques, and also the impact on business on the productivity things, the impact on business on productivity measures like financial impact, competitiveness, workforce, customers, and so on. So basically, this is really important lessons of productivity measures. We talk about the production methods and productivity measures now. That's we are going to, in my next session, I'm going to teach you about the lean production technique, which is more important and very latest knowledge in the business world. Okay, from that, we are going to winding up our today's session. Thank you very much with having with me. Bye.